All right, can you hear me, Dana?
Yep.
All right.
Yes, sir. Come aboard.
After much delay, I apologize. Call this Facilities Committee meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Ingram,
Present.
Rector,
Here.
Summers,
Present, finally.
Tinsley, Taylor,
Here.
Woken,
Here.
Young,
Here.
Harper.
Okay. We have a quorum. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, Rector.
Second, Ingram.
John. In a second?
Ingram, second.
Okay, thank you very much. Got a motion and a second. Public participation. Do we have any public
Nope.
participation? Nobody on?
And we need a vote, Steve.
So, oh, I'm sorry. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Roll call. I think we have to roll call it now.
Technically, we do have to roll call it.
Yeah.
So we'll do the roll call then.
Sorry, clerk.
Yeah, my bad.
Ingram,
Yes.
Rector,
Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Woken,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
All right, minutes approved. There's no public
Steve-
participation?
Steve, you got to do agenda approval.
Ah. You know,
Sorry.
this is what happens when I rely on what I think is going to be an easy link to get on the meeting, and then I'm left scrambling in my own non-tech world to try and move forward with this. So bear with me. All right. We have a quorum. Need to call the meeting to order. Call the meeting to order. We've got the roll call. Roll call. Okay, all in favor? Excuse me, I'm losing it here.
I'd like to move approval of the agenda.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Ingram.
I'd like to second that.
That's why I have an arrow pointed to it right now.
Teamwork.
Finally, it finally did. All right. Have a motion and a second. All in favor? We need a roll call. Roll call, please.
Ingram,
Yes, please.
Rector,
I'm sorry. I apologize. Yes.
Summers,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Woken,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Okay. Now moving forward. Do we have any communications? Anybody? No communications. We'll
The only
move forward.
communication I had that Rosales is present, and I wanted Dan to note that.
Thank you. Dan, note
Thank
that-
you.
I have a communication.
Excuse me, Chair Rosales is present.
I have a communication.
Charles, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah. I just want to let everybody know today is Barack Obama's birthday. He's 59. Go Barack.
All right. Duly noted. Okay, if there are no further communications, we'll go on to new business. First one's the final update on the MedCAD HVAC replacement project. Dana, did you want to go
Yep.
over that?
Okay. As of 10 days ago, we finished the project. We have the final pay application in-house and are reviewing it. We do have a piece of work. Well, actually, we have a couple of punch items that are left, and basically they're cleanup. Excuse me. We do have a piece that we're adding on to it that part of the project was with Alpha Controls. We're adding some additional controls. What are those? Well, humidity detectors within the building. It's really part of the COVID, as well as carbon dioxide detectors. they'll be able to measure the levels of humidity and carbon dioxide in particularly the call center room and the meeting room and the HVAC system. Once sensing that, if those levels bump up, they'll be able to generate a little more fresh air into each of those rooms, so the exchange rate will be greater. This will be paid for basically by a grant that we're getting, and total cost is about $10,000, but it's really a COVID portion of this work. It was not intended into the original product, but as we've had to live through COVID through this, this is a very positive aspect for their building. The tenants are excited about having that ability and to basically put their employees at rest. So they've managed to keep it out so far of their building. They test everyone coming in terms of temperature and a quick questionnaire. So this is a positive thing for us. Anyway, anybody have any questions?
Okay, hearing no questions, move on to item B, the update on courthouse and JDC video security replacement project. Again, Dan, if you want to touch on that.
Yep. In the packet on starting on page 6 was last week's note from our latest meeting. We are winding down at the courthouse. We're about 95% complete with the installation. There is still work that has to be done by programming cameras and putting them in their exact location. Of the 160 cameras, 101 to 110 of them have been labeled with the corrections officer in charge of security in the building. We have yet to finalize the aiming, if you will, of where they will be pointed to. That has to be done yet, but that will be done very soon. Johnson Controls, who has both contracts for the courthouse and JDC, will be starting JDC on Monday, August 10th. Excuse me. They were initially going to start back in April, but with COVID, JDC wanted to hold off. They have a better understanding the implication and how to handle it within their building. They will workers will be asked to take temperatures, fill out a brief questionnaire before entering the building on a daily basis. But they will start on Monday. We have also finalized how the process will work for them, and JDC has agreed to it. There will be a 3 to 5 day shutdown of JDC in order that we comply with JDC's wishes that we don't have 2 operation systems for both video and door control at the same time. So in order to do that, we'll install their cameras and get those up and running and be on one system. And then when we're ready to move forward and be closer done with the door system, we'll shut the building down for 3 to 5 days and get that system up and running, and then they'll be integrated together off the same screen. So that's just getting started. Feel good about the process and where we're at. Any questions?
Anybody, any questions on that? Okay,
If the clerk wouldn't mind noting that James Tinsley has arrived.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
I just asked if the clerk could note that James Tinsley has arrived to the meeting.
Ah,
Yeah, I saw.
thank you, Mike. Okay. Move on, Steve, to
yep, move on to item C. We've got lots of
Hail.
pictures in the packet, but not a lot of explanation. But we talked a little bit about the damage that the hail did in terms of
yes.
bending things up. And I think those photos pretty well illustrate the fins that are damaged on a lot of the HVAC equipment.
Yeah, it's massive in terms of the damage to the coils and the fin tubes. On the 11th, obviously, we had a hailstorm, impacted a lot of people in town. But a lot of our HVAC equipment, unfortunately, faces to the north and does not have hail guards. So as you see from the photos, a lot of those have significant damage on it. What we've learned from a previous experience with working with the county's insurance is that we are in a better position if we arm ourselves with enough material in terms of knowledge about each of the units and what's available for replacement. So we've contracted with GHR to better illustrate to the insurance company where we're at, what's going on, what kind of damage, are there replacement coils available out there for the equipment if not noted, what are those costs, if there are not replacement equipment available, what's the cost of a new unit. So we're trying to do comparisons and hopefully put us in better position to work with our insurance company. 2 weeks ago, they came in for 2 full days of tours of all of our buildings. Those 2 days, they were really looking at building envelope, roofs, sides, siding, glass, metal skin roofs, etc. They did find damage, significant damage on Elias, the portion that is rented by Elias at the old nursing home. And it has an asphalt roof that was put on roughly 2006, 2008. And again, at the courthouse, courthouse has significant asphalt shingles on the Mansford roof that surrounds the newer portion of the building, hiding the mechanicals, and then again on the original part of the courthouse. So we're not sure that's at, but study really working with GHR is going to focus on all our mechanicals and kind of documenting again for us the damage, what's there, how much. We were successful about 2.5 years ago with that same scenario when the nursing home kitchen AC unit was hit by lightning and fried, literally melted wiring from the unit all the way down into the kitchen. And the engineer that was hired by our insurance company was claiming that lightning did not hit it, and it's really just wear and tear. Well, it obviously was not. So we feel like we're in a better position by having GHR find more information and speak to it. And you can ask questions. Obviously, he's pretty knowledgeable about Champaign County's equipment and where it's at. So with that, I'll ask Jim to say a few words, and then we'll see if anybody's got questions.
Okay. So bear with me. I'm on the same learning curve that Steve is.
Well, I doubt that very much, Jim.
So our process has been to take a very detailed survey of all the equipment that's on the roof, and in some cases on the ground, that was damaged by the hail. And as you might suspect, the damage ranges from fairly minor to pretty severe. In those cases where we have minor damage, we think it can be repaired. I was speaking with a contractor this afternoon. We're going to probably have somebody out from his firm to kind of verify our judgment that some of these units just can have these fins, which are bent by the hail, combed back out into the proper orientation so that they'll function correctly. I might add that the whole thing with these fins is to reject heat to the atmosphere. So this is all part of the air conditioning systems in these various buildings. Some of the units are damaged, but they're new enough that replacement coils can be purchased. We're wading through that scenario with the various manufacturers. As you might suspect, we've got a handful of different manufacturers. We've got quite a variety of ages of units to deal with. So in some cases, we're having to dig through with these vendors, dig through old records to see what exactly is in this piece of equipment. Can we purchase a new one? Can it be retrofitted to these existing pieces of equipment, et cetera, et cetera. In other cases, the equipment is old. It's damaged to the point where it can't be repaired. So in those situations, and these typically have been some of the smaller units here on Brookins, we will recommend that those be replaced. Our goal is to present rather a package that covers all the inventory that's been damaged, make an assessment as to what needs to be done, describe what needs to be done. We'll know what it costs, present that presumably to the insurance coverer, and let the let the discussion begin. I might add that in all cases, we will recommend that hail guards be installed on equipment so that we don't have to go down this road again. And I don't know how the insurance company will address that particular aspect of the expenses here, but clearly it's something that's in the county's best interest to do as we move forward.
Thank you, Jim. As always, your level of competency is quite high. I have to say, when I looked at those pictures, I knew we had significant damage, but I was surprised at the degree. And this is just from a layman looking at it, but the stuff was just battered to hell. And I guess we'll hope for the best in terms of the response we get back from our insurance company. And I appreciate you and your company doing the work to give us a leg up, as Dana had put it, in terms of trying to work with them. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. And I thank you for your company doing the work.
Hey, Dana, do you know what our deductible is for an event like that?
Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You know what our deductible is for an event like that?
Well, fortunately, it's all been thrown together. So I think for the entire package, it'd be about 50,000. So that's a good thing, actually. Because we're looking at a big number. Just the roofs alone on those two buildings are significant. So.
Well, I'd say when it rains, it pours, but I think I'll just stay away from that one.
Yeah.
Just having a wonderful year in 2020 all around.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Gleason or for Dana about the hail damage that we're looking at for the county? Anybody else? Hearing none, let's go on. You got an
Jim,
update
thank you.
on, security glass and screens for the county building. You got some.
Okay.
Well,
Yep.
yeah.
On page 51 of the packet is basically a cover sheet. When this first came out, COVID, one of the things that I went around and did was meet with most of the county's offices rather, that does business on a day-to-day basis with the public, either at their office or at the courthouse over here at Brookins. So we identified most of the offices, went around, met with them, and tried to develop a bid packet, if you will. I went around and got 3 different prices for most of these windows. And we went and ended up with Bacon Van Buskirk because they weren't the lowest price, however, they were close. But they could do the majority of the work in the shortest period of time. So that our offices would be ready to go by the time that we open back up to the public. So starting from the top, circuit clerk, front counters, there's 8 windows up there. We wanted to install, thought it was important, besides a glass front, a tempered glass in most of these locations. Our staff who works for the public, dealing with, in fact, both at the courthouse and here at Brookins, with the public just across the counter. And oftentimes at the courthouse, one of the public members was not happy about either what happened to them, what was doing, or why they had to pay. Our staff felt threatened, and so we wanted to be able to provide a level of protection to the staff. 3/8 tempered glass, first of all, is nice and thick, but by being tempered, you can throw a brick at it, it's not going to break. You can pound on it all you want, you're just going to hurt your hand. So at the 8 counters where they serve the public at the circuit clerk, we put in those windows. State's attorney information office up on the 2nd floor, public defender's information counter. We ended up actually putting in a wall because they really don't have a counter. We had to create one. Guests would just come in, the public would just come into their office. So we actually built a wall there of glass. Planning and zoning here in Brookings, same thing. The assessor's office, counter area. The treasurer's office has 5 windows where they service the public that were put in. Probation up on the 3rd floor, an information counter, very similar to state's attorney's office. There was an opening in the court security main entrance that we put a piece of glass to protect our court security folks. All 11 courtrooms did not receive glass, but we did put in the judges and staff very concerned about who was testifying, and they wanted some protection for the jurors, the court reporter, as well as the judge. So we created just kind of a 3-sided box in the jury box, in the testifying box, to give some protection to those 3 groups of folks. County clerk's office here, and then a window over at animal control for them to maintain some security and, of course, sneeze and cough guard. Yet to go. Those all that I've just mentioned have been paid for and been installed. County clerk came to us about 10 days ago after they had several outbreak, several of their staff with COVID within their office, and wanted us to try and create some separation in between their desk areas. So we laid out a scenario for them out of 1/4 inch tempered. Again, it doesn't have to be 3/8. This is just to protect their staff while they're sitting down, so they don't have to wear a mask while they're doing work on their computer at their desk. They stand up, they'll immediately put on a mask. So we've got that ordered. In fact, it's supposed to be in on Friday, and had a similar request by the recorder's office. He's able to, in his office, have pretty good separation between his staff's desks, with the exception of one area. So we're going to put a piece of 1/4 inch plexiglass in place to be able to protect both workers from each other. And then after putting the glass at the county clerk's office, first of all, it's a tough area because you've got the 2-story or 3-story entryway where people come in at security. People are talking, they come up the stairs, it's loud, it's noisy. Plus the county clerk's office is wide open on the inside, and with all their staff, it's very difficult to hear through the openings of the glass. So we're in the process of ordering mics for these. They're amplified mics, so there's a speaker on both sides and a mic on both sides of pickup. So that should cure the problem for the circuit clerk. And then the circuit clerk is also talking to us about trying to put an extension of the counter because where the glass had to go didn't give enough room for the public to either set down material or write a check. So they feel like they needed to have a little additional area. Not sure of that cost yet. That's not been identified, but we'll try and identify that in the next week or 2 weeks. Unplanned costs. This is refundable by the state. That'll be included on all our things that we've purchased for COVID. So we're currently at 52,000 and some change, and waiting to see what kind of an extension for the countertops, the eight windows at the circuit clerk's office. So we're thinking we're in pretty good shape everywhere else. I will say that the Attorney General's office came to me today, and they've seen the glass around the building, and they're interested for one or more of their receptionists in their office, which they'll put in and pay for. But it's kind of where we're at. I think everybody's so far is happy. There's not everybody is elated about having the glass. Some people, prefer it the old way. I will tell you that I also talked to Mark, the recorder, and he just doesn't know how he can do it with do his normal business with glass, and so they prefer to wear masks and work with the public by wearing a mask. Tried to get him to think about doing something different at his counter areas at least, and then when they've got to go into the file storage area, then you just wear a mask going there. But he's set and feels comfortable, and I think his staff is okay and feeling comfortable there. So that was the main goal of this, to make sure that our staff was taken care of and protected, and that they feel positive about what the county's doing for them.
Hey,
Well,
Dana,
go
are the
ahead.
speakers in the circuit clerk's or county clerk's office?
It's both. Are you talking about the extension? Is the circuit clerk at the courthouse?
The speakers.
The speakers at the circuit clerks at the
Yeah.
courthouse.
The sheet says county clerk. That's why I just didn't know if I was misunderstanding.
Oh, it does. It sure does. That's me. I apologize.
No, it's all,
Circuit clerk.
all good. Thank you.
Yep.
Again, Dana, thank you for, the unexpected things that we're having to deal with this COVID-19 issue. It just seems like it is continuing to snowball and not end, even when you think you do have things halfway under control. But you've
Right.
done the bulk of the work, and we're going to be getting reimbursed, I would guess, for a lot of this. So
Yes.
that's great news there. Thank you for your continued work and your staff's work and these ongoing projects. I'm sure it's slowing them down from stuff that they would have been scheduled to do otherwise. So
Yeah.
just carry on.
Yep.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments about the security glass screens for our county buildings?
My question was only going to be related to the potential reimbursement, but it seems like you've kind of already covered that that's likely, at least in a decent amount of the money.
I
Yeah.
believe so. I'll need to talk with Tammy about it. Dana and I talked about it briefly, and he punted to Tammy, but I'm pretty sure that we will get full reimbursement for that from the state. So
Correct.
unless we hear something otherwise, that's what I'm assuming, which is fantastic news. The only good news I've really gotten so far tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on then, your sanitation efforts in county buildings, you've got an MSDS sheet with the stuff that you're using in our packet. So I'll let you touch on that.
Yeah, I thought it would be useful and important to at least inform the facility committee of what we're using and what we're doing to try and sanitize our buildings. We buy our product through CMI here locally. It's called Husky 892, and it is effective for a lot of different viruses and bugs, including COVID. The mix rate basically is 1 ounce per gallon. You wouldn't think that that's much, but it's a lot. This is heavy duty stuff. We ask our staff who are spraying to wear gloves, wear a mask, eyewear or protective eyewear, and they've all done a good job of continuing to take those precautions. This is a handheld sprayer. Weighs loaded with product a little less than 6 pounds. We had several of these purchased for several years now. As COVID came out, I did jump on it and order 6 more for us. Originally, when I bought the first 2, they were about $600 a piece. I bought what was available at about 650, and I've just placed an order for 2 more, and they've gone up substantially. They're probably about $1,000 a piece, and difficult to get parts on. We're going to get our last 2 here in August, sometime this month. We're using them extensively at the courthouse, at the jails, basically in all of our buildings. Our staff varies their work times. Courthouse staff is in at 5 o'clock, so we're spraying everything, all courtrooms, entrance and stairwells, offices, etc. Doing the same thing here at Brookins. We do the same thing at MedCAD, Animal Control, Coroner's Office. So it's a bit of a hassle to only have the number that we have. So we're trying to buy a few more, so we're not having to ferry them around, so that every building that we've got has got, if it's a small building, just one, obviously, but if it's a larger facility, then 2 or 3. This building needs 3. Courthouse has got 3. Sheriff's office has gone ahead and purchased 1 for each of the jails, and they're using it along with their Kyvac. And one of the 2 guns that we've just purchased, one will end up over at JDC because they've got a Kyvac, but they have nothing along these lines. So we're having always to take one from Brookins over there to spray in the morning, and just ferrying these around is taking staff time. So, but that would be a good idea for you just be aware of what we're doing and how we're trying to fight COVID in our buildings. As it's popped up into various offices, we'll go in and spray down the entire room when no one's there. Had it show up several offices, several courtrooms. Unexpectedly people arrive and all of a sudden acknowledge that they've had it, which is not a good thing. But we're doing the best we can to try and keep our staff free, and obviously wearing masks and taking all precautions. So, anybody any questions or concerns?
Well, hearing none, I guess we'll move to the last item, and it's unfortunate that Stan was not able to be with us. He was probably the point person on this particular item, which is a honor roll from folks that participated in the Second World War. My understanding in talking with Stan was that after the war, mothers of people that served in the military each contributed $1, and they put this plaque together. Dana, I'm trying to recall, was this in the VFW prior to
Yes.
this? I'm trying to remember. Okay. So it was,
Yes.
it was previously in the Urbana VFW, I believe. And there's some discussion about possibly moving this to some space in the courthouse if we can find someplace appropriate. And at this point, we're just discussing options and possibilities. There's nothing set in concrete on this. We do have a photo of it, I guess, in our packet, which I'd like to see the real thing. So maybe I'll be able to do that sometime in the next week or so. But Dana, anything that I miss out? Anything you want to elaborate on? I mean, I know Stan talked about possibly putting it in the courthouse. So I'll let you take it from here if you've got anything to add.
We should go take a look at it at the VFW. I would also suggest maybe grabbing Brad from Veterans Association and getting him involved, since he's the state of Illinois commandant, if you will. This is for Urbana. I don't know if Champaign's got anything. Again, these are participants from the city of Urbana. I don't know if Champaign's got anything, but having dealt a little bit with it at the University of Memorial Stadium and trying to update that, you kind of never know where this is going to lead you. So, but I would say maybe grab Brad and when Stan can, and you, Steve. Anybody else wants to join us, go take a look at this, and we can then by the courthouse and see where we might be able to put something like that, or if it belongs someplace else. I know there is a plaque here at Brookins in the lobby. And I think talking to Brad, we might have maybe gain a little more information about it and what we might be able to do with it.
Have you talked to him, Dana?
I have not. No.
I happen to have a meeting with him tomorrow, so
Sure.
I'll broach the subject and get back to you guys if that's okay.
Sure,
Sure.
that'd be helpful.
What's,
Go ahead.
oh, I
Rich.
was just gonna say like looking at the picture, it's probably gotta be about 3.5, 4 feet tall, probably something like that.
That's kind of what I'm guessing. I think the diagonal in there is one of the line dividers that maybe has just come loose on the far left. That's what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like maybe the glass is cracked, but I don't think that it is. Might need just a little bit of repair. I don't know. We'll just take a look and see what we
Yeah.
do.
I was gonna, I don't ask or suggest, I guess, and you kind of mentioned it already, Brookins as a potential alternate location. If we're talking about not maybe having enough space or an appropriate place for it at the courthouse, I think Brookins would be a perfectly respectable place to have it as well.
Yes, particularly since there's already and I've got to take a look at it again because I walk by it every day. I just don't remember exactly what it honors, but it does account for, I believe, World War II or World War I. So, yeah, talk to Brad, John, and see what his thoughts are, and we can arrange a time to go look at it. It's like I said, it's over the VFW.
I'm also curious. I mean, I guess I'm sure if we picked up the list, the name plaque or whatever, I'm guessing that the header kind of comes with it. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's maybe slightly unclear or ambiguous. I might almost think that I guess we'd have to probably take up a collection or something if we wanted to make something different than that. But it might be kind of nice to have something that actually explains a little bit more, that just says like, citizens of Urbana who fought in World War II, instead of like honor roll. Seems like kind of a weird, like, does that mean that you might not know if that means that they were killed in action or if they, excelled at something or whatever. So for me, I think it would be really cool to have a clear definition of what it is.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, Mr. Ingram.
It's a good idea. I suspect that honor roll is kind of lost in today's world versus what probably was after World War II. So, yeah, I think that's an excellent suggestion. And again, here I think Brad can help with that. So, in fact, he may have some. I don't know if he's got access to dollars, but he may be able to do something there. I'm not sure. They do take care of the memorial at the courthouse and do fund repairs. They fund the flags. So, conversation with him could be beneficial.
Well, I think the point of having it on the agenda was just to allow discussion among board members and to be aware of it and spend some time thinking about it. I will try and gather information and get additional information back and just determine if we should be involved in it, and if we should, what would be the best disposition in terms of where it should end up. As far as additional funding, I think we could also contact both Champaign and Urbana American Legion and see if they would be interested in some input and perhaps providing some additional funding for maybe a different type of a plaque to go along with this honor roll, for lack of a better term right now.
Yeah.
So we'll gather additional information and bring it back to the committee, and then maybe we'll have a clearer idea which way to move forward with it. Anybody else? Okay, do we have any other business? I don't have any to bring forward. Dana, do you have anything that you want to bring forward at this point?
No, sir.
Okay. Have no presiding officer's report. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, September 8th, 6:30. It does not appear we have any designation of items to be placed on the consent agenda, so
No.
I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Folks, thank you for bearing with me in terms of getting on. Believe it or not, I had just reset my password and was putting in the appropriate code to get in on this. as Mike sent me the link. I thought, I'm not proud. I'm going to go ahead and just hit the link and go on. So thanks, folks. I appreciate your attending. I'll look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Dana. Steve, thank you.
Take care, everybody.